Hello there friends and welcome. For today's BG3 guide we have all about how to truly maximize your 2-hit chances to ensure your characters will always be able to hit even high AC enemies on Tactician Mode, of course, for that nice 99% chance. And I'll of course cover the best sources for both static and also generating advantage to your attacks. As a matter of fact, I'll even show you how to make even poor little summons go from a pathetic 15% chance only to a very heroic 90% plus. And for this guide, I want to use the lowly skeleton summon from the Animate That spell as an example because, well, it has low 2-hit chance by default, and is forever stuck at level 3, against a very nasty 23 AC enemy in one of the toughest battles of the second act, all on Tactician Mode of course. So without further ado, let us get into our max attack rolls guide for BG3, first with all of the nice and stacking static sources we have. The first one is the classic Bless spell. You can target up to 3 creatures, or more if you upcast the spell, and all affected targets will now have a 1d4 bonus to attack rolls and saving throws, which trust me can really help. So our Blast Skelly now has 40% chance of hitting the enemy, a 15% increase over its normal 25%, or even less of course if you don't attack from high ground, which I'll soon get into. While Blast is amazing, it does require concentration, which means it clashes with other powerful spells such as Spirit Guardians. A very simple way of overcoming that is by simply having the Whispering Promise Ring equipped on your main cleric. This way, whenever you heal a creature, they'll automatically become blessed for 2 turns without concentration. Even better when you combine it with mass healing spells, such as Mass Healing Word, for multiple targets blessed at once. Just remember, because undead like the skeleton cannot be healed, they will not benefit from this bless effect, so you'll have to use the normal bless spell on them. And get this, there is another powerful way of achieving mass bless through the Falar Alluve sword and its Melody ability. As an action, you can use Melody and Sing to bless all nearby allies as an aura. Just look at how many targets we can hit at once. Here's the best part, it doesn't require concentration and will actually stack with the blast effect, so now our same skeleton has 50% chance of hitting the enemy. You can even unequip Falar Alluve for something else while retaining the benefit, and is recharged per short rest. Quite a handy weapon to have, both for buffing purposes, plus it's even a finessable longsword, scaling with your dexterity and found as early as Act 1 in the Underdark. For a secondary source of static attack roll increases, we have High Ground, and this only works for ranged characters. So long as your character is at a sufficient enough elevation when compared to the enemy, you'll get the High Ground bonus for a static +2 to hit with ranged attacks. And well, we wanna stack as much as we can. Now before getting into more attack sources for our poor little skeleton, I want to cover the remaining static sources we have left, especially when it comes to enhancing the power of your main character and party members. Classes like Fighter at level 1 and Ranger at the 2nd level can acquire fighting style into archery for a very nice +2 bonus to ranged weapon attacks, which does matter a lot early on. Strength builds can also benefit from the highly powerful Giant Strength Elixirs, First Heal Giant, found and farmable as early as Act 1 for 21 strength per long rest, and of course its big upgrade, Cloud Giant Strength. And when you increase your strength by such high amounts, you'll also get quite a lot more 2-hit chance. Especially useful when combined with the Tavern Brawler feat for throwing and also unarmed builds, because that doubles your strength bonus when it comes to enhancing your attack rolls. The Favorable Beginnings Mind Flayer power is another great generic source of static boosts. It costs barely anything at just 1 point here, besides the initial one at the center, and will increase the first attack roll you make against an initial target by +4, a huge amount. You can also stack weapon enchantment scores. The +1 comes from the Drake Throat Glaive Draconic Elemental Weapon ability, which even adds an extra 1d4 elemental damage of choice to your weapon until long rest, and the other +3 from upscaled versions of the magic weapon spell, which is kinda overkill because it requires concentration, but hey, the point is to show you how to stack it to the max if you need it. Last but not least, we have the Rhapsody Dagger found at Act 3 during Astarion's last quest. Its Scarlet Remittance bonus can enhance your attack rolls by +1 3 times max whenever you kill an enemy. Amusingly enough, it procs even if you destroy 1 hit point objects, right? Even per the most current patch. Not saying you have to do it, but hey, it works. Besides static increases, another extremely important way of enhancing your attack rolls is called advantage, which means rolling 2 dice and picking the best result. This of course will highly increase not only your chances of hitting the enemy, making critical hits, and even avoiding critical misses, which is what happens when you roll a 1, no matter how high your attack rolls are. While there are many sources of generating advantage, my preferred pick comes from spells. First, Fairy Fire, available as early as level 1, as it is a level 1 Druid and Bard spell. And well, if the enemies fail their saves, they'll be hit for 10 entire turns with Fairy Fire, which means all of your allies, not just the caster, will now have advantage on their attacks against these enemies. And get this, they cannot remove the effect at all. Now our same Skelly, which had 50% chance, has 70 for a whopping 20% increase, all because of advantage. And by the way, you can differentiate between advantage or static bonuses by just checking to the left of the buff's name. For example, for both High Ground and Blast and Sinking Sword, we have a plus icon. Meanwhile, for sources of advantage or disadvantage, it's a dice with an arrow symbol going up or down. Second, do note that while advantage and disadvantage sources can cancel each other out, you can't stack advantage together. The maximum will always be 2 dice rolled, no matter how many other sources you have. Another one of the best ways of creating party-wide advantage is through the Fog Cloud spell, also level 1, super early. It hits a nice area, and the best part is it doesn't offer a saving throw at all. Enemies inside the cloud will be automatically blinded, which of course means advantage on all of your attacks and disadvantage on theirs, so long as they are inside, of course. This has amazing synergy once again with ranged characters, so long as you attack from decently close and have dark vision. Notice that if you try to attack from here, it says too dark. But if you move closer to the enemy, there we go, we now have advantage from Fairy Fire and Blinded. Once again, it doesn't stack. Of course, for melee allies it's not going to be as easy because they have to go inside the cloud, right? Which means they'll also be blinded. Hiding and attacking the enemy from stealth is another source of advantage, as you can see below the mirror image message. Hiding, close to the arrow pointing upwards. But of course, it is going to disappear after you attack the enemy once, unless you hide again. Also, be careful when attacking from range, because if you attack the enemy from too far away, even with a bow, you'll get disadvantage, thus the target outside normal range message you can read at the center of the screen. But of course, the easiest way to generate advantage is through the Rescue Ring found at the second act in the Moonrise Towers. With this, all of your attacks will simply always be made with advantage no matter what. It also has the downside of making your saving throws come at disadvantage, but who cares? When you are alpha striking the enemies into submission with your machine guns, for example, it's not like any enemy will be left alive in the first place to benefit from this, not at all. And for melee characters, don't forget you have access to the gloves of the Growling Underdog as early as Act 1 at the Goblin Camp, for advantage on all melee attack rolls, so long as you are surrounded by 2 or more foes. Well, very easy to do when you are at melee range, of course. We still have another way of increasing our attack rolls, but this time indirectly through armor class reduction. My favorite way of doing this is through the very powerful Slow spell, which will reduce the enemy's AC by -2, together with dexterity saving throws and even half movement speed. Now our same skeleton has 84% chance to hit as opposed to 70, even from a mere level 3 summon. With the benefit of all of this being long-lasting, right? It's not gonna wear off at the next enemy turn. Assuming they manage to stay alive, of course, which they won't, because you can then unleash all of your attacks just fine at them. For complete domination. One of the ultimate Mind Flayer powers, Black Hole, can also work as a way of slowing enemies down. The same effect as the slow spell, of course. And speaking about Mind Flayer powers, Fracture Psych will also reduce the enemy's AC by 1. If they die, you get to apply a -2 instead to another enemy. Lastly, we have the amazing Ability Drain Mind Flayer power. Once per turn, whenever you make an attack roll against an enemy, you'll reduce their corresponding ability by 1. If you are wielding ranged weapons, it means -1 to their dexterity, and if the enemy started with an even score in dexterity as they usually do, that means a -1 to their AC. It might not seem like much, but remember, BG3 is a low numbers game, especially when you consider all that we are stacking together with this guide. Lastly, remember this is per turn. While it does not stack with Feats itself, you can apply it on a new target every new round. Well, alright friends, so this was it for my How to Achieve Maximum 2-Hit Chance guide. I know I didn't exactly cover every single source possible, but I do think these are the most common, easily achievable ones. And if you think I missed something important, please be sure to comment down below. Don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe and consider becoming a channel member if you can. I truly appreciate your support. Thank you for watching and see you next time, friends.